Hi, my name is Angela Arnold, and I'm the General Manager of Overdrive Education, and I'm joined today by Noelle Zickafoos, an Account Manager with Overdrive Education. She helps schools with Sora. Why would a school choose to use digital class sets?
Well, digital class sets in Sora provide access to the right books for every student.
What is a class set, and how exactly does that work?
Class sets are digital books that you make available in Sora. So when a student accesses a book in the class set option, they get it for a 90-day rental period. On the back end, each checkout costs you the class set rental price listed in our marketplace site and ranges anywhere from $1 to sometimes about $5 or $6. You only pay for the actual checkouts that take place.
Great. So digital class sets can work in different ways. Which options are best for different schools?
So we have an option where you can make a class set available in an on-demand manner. And this is ideal when you don't know exactly who needs a digital copy of a book. And it's also ideal for large groups of students, typically 100 or more students at a time. You can make the book available in Sora. You set a limit as to how many copies you'd like to make available, and you only pay as those copies actually get used. Teachers can share a direct link to that book with their students, and it's super simple for the students to click that link and then just borrow the book and begin reading. You can also use class sets by assigning copies to specific students, and this is perfect when you've got a specific class of students that need that digital book, or just a smaller group of students where you know exactly who needs that copy and you just want to give them those copies to use.
And so what are some use cases for those different options you described?
I think with on demand, these are really great to use when you want to give students a lot of choice. You want to make maybe 40 books or a collection of books available to your students, and then they can go in and just pick the book that they're interested in and read that particular title. It's also great when you have maybe an entire grade reading the same book. Just make it available in Sora. You don't have to assign it to every student, and then they just go in and get that book for themselves. It's also amazing if you're interested in doing an all school read or an all district read, and you just want to make that book available digitally in Sora to anybody who wants to read it. This is awesome too if you're considering doing an author visit or a talk. It's a really great way to make that book available to everybody. If you want to use class sets in a way where you're assigning it to students, I think a great use case for this would be a book club. And everyone in the book needs a copy of that book. You might as well just assign it to the students in your book club. They sign into Sora and it's right there ready for them. Another great option for this is when you've got a class of maybe 30 students, you assign it to those 30 students, they've got it ready to go. It's also great when you've got students who maybe just need a digital copy of a book because of accessibility needs, whether they need maybe an audiobook assigned to them, they want to use a digital copy because of the need for a dyslexic font, or Sora has a lot of other accessibility features that students can take advantage of.
What kinds of books are available in this model? Because not all titles are available in class sets, but what kinds of things might we find in this model?
You're going to find thousands of books available in our class set option. This is driven by the publisher and as is the pricing, but any book that's available in our class set catalog in our marketplace is going to be available either to assign to students or to make available in an on-demand option.
Great. I know that the availability of books in the class set model has really increased during the pandemic. I've been seeing that most of the very popular assigned titles like Bud Not Buddy, Esperanza Rising, To Kill a Mockingbird, these are the types of things that schools are using in class sets. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, there is a ton of availability in terms of the titles.
Yeah, great. And so who has access to class sets in Sora?
Well, there's a lot of flexibility in how you set it up. You can set it up so that everybody has access to that book. You can make it so it's just certain grade levels that can have access to that book. You could assign it to a specific class by access level, or you can set it up through Advantage accounts, which is typically for a specific school. So you can enable it so just the students and teachers at that particular school building have access to that book.
Great, that's a lot of flexibility. That's practically every way to slice and dice. How do schools get billed for digital class sets?
So it depends on how you set it up. If you assign copies to specific students, you'll just pay for those copies up front and they go directly to the students that you're assigning them to. If you decide to enable a class set as an on-demand class set, you would just get billed monthly for the actual usage of that title.
Great. And how do schools pay for class sets?
You can pay for them upfront with a credit card or bank account or a purchase order. You can be invoiced for that, and then you'll receive the invoice and your bookkeeper can mail a check. We also have something where schools can put what we call content credit into their account, and you can use your content credit as you go. So that's another way to pay for your purchases as you go.
This sounds great. How would a school get started if they wanted to get set up with digital class sets in Sora? What do they do?
So all they need to do is contact their account manager, and they simply have to provide a little bit of information. You need to know what book you would like to enable or list of books, the maximum number of copies you'd like to make available, and this can be 100 or 50,000. There's really no maximum here. You would want to include the date you'd like that book to be available, and when you no longer want that book to be available, if you know that, right up front. At that point, we take it from there. Once we have that information, your class set can be live within 2 hours.
That's amazing. Well, thanks a lot, Noelle. I really appreciate that. I think it sounds like the key concept here is to just reach out to your account manager to get started with class sets. Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.